Alrighty, Taurus. I got 9 cards here, the Crowley spread. Let's get into your reading. Okay, we're starting off with a card that showed up in a few readings this month. This is the Ten of Swords. Emotionally exhausted, laying low for a while. That's the energy. As you've been doing that, you should be doing that. So it's emotionally exhausted. A lot of stress, probably. And it could be from a number of things. We come in here with the Nine of Wands. Avoid losing battle. Competition can be a bad thing. Um, so maybe uh, some type of stress over competition, or some type of situation that's put an anxiety or stress on you. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. Now you do have the Ten of Cups here. Celebrate family, community, and end of a hard time or times. So it's basically just kind of like you've been under a lot of stress. Sometimes it's best just to lay it down, and that you've done that. You've reached out. You energetically you've taken like healing, space, a pause, a breath with community, family. Something that can uplift you instead of stress you. And whatever it was, it's see if there's a message for it. And we have the major arcana, the Aeon. Feels as though you're bumping into restrictions. Probably something along the line of, it could be stress eating, it could be other indulgences. Uh, Maybe, with the stress of whatever had stressed you out, it's taking a bit of a toll. And you have to, you know, healing is not just mind behavior, it's physical. So, maybe there's a resistance to reining in some type of behavior that's come from the stress and anxiety that's been going on. Now we have got the Five of Swords here. Uh, Others may seem self-centered, but it's important not to be quick to anger. That sounds like a very interpersonal. It's got the energy of like an interpersonal situation, probably with somebody close. Um, there's times that maybe it was from stress and anxiety. It doesn't feels like everybody else is kind of on their own wavelength, but just let it be, just let it ride. You got your card here, Taurus. You got the Magician card here. You got the Magus. Oh, it's declaring your spiritual politics without fear of reprisals. Spiritual politics. That's like in terms of like the world and morality or its lack thereof. You know, if you have those around you that are like, oh, it's okay to do things and behave and indulge in such ways. Well, sometimes it's good to speak up your spiritual political convictions. The politics of spirit, not talking about politics in the general term, but like the spiritual politics. It's like, no, I don't think that's energetically beneficial, especially not to me right now. So I'm going to move away from that. I think it's a bit of a warning of that. You could be invited to go down that type of indulgence. That's why there's restrictions. It feels like maybe it's restrictions, maybe not necessarily the feeling of restrictions, even though it feels as though you're bumping into restrictions. Maybe these are necessary changes in course. And you have the Aeon on this side and the Magus on this side. This is the two great cards. Let's see what else we got here. The Queen of Swords. Uh, don't be so dependent or as dependent on others. Don't rely on promises from others. So this is basically just a heads up to those that are close, like coworkers and different ones. When you hear like a slightly outlandish promise, then it probably is a bit outlandish. Ten of Discs. Look at your resources and have gratitude for them and use them. So if you've got resources, you know, you want to have gratitude for what you have, but you also want to go ahead and put it in. Don't keep the resource off to the side like you're saving it for later. If you've got a resource, and it could come in many forms, not just material things, but it could be, you know, it could be people, it could be places, opportunities, and so on. If you've got a resource, then go ahead and use it. I'm going to finish up with the Princess of Swords. Situations require subtle change for the good of everyone, and this card is like an embodiment of cleverness. It's like an embodiment of cleverness. So it's basically be wise in that. So let's go over them again. So we got emotionally exhausted, laying low. It's kind of a hermit mode. Uh, Avoid losing battle. Competition can be a bad thing. And then we have the Ten of Cups. Celebrate family, community, and an end of that hard time. Aeon. Uh, it feels like you're bumping into restrictions. You know, it has something to do with behavior and indulgence. And then others may seem self-centered. Don't be quick to anger. Distance yourself and declare your spiritual politics without fear of reprisals. Sometimes you have to step away from certain situations that might draw you in and drain you even more. And from the beginning of this reading, Taurus, it's basically you don't need that right now. The Queen of Swords, you know, trying to trying to be more independent from others and don't rely on a bunch of promises, no matter who they're coming from. At this time, the Ten of Discs, look at your resources, use your resources, whatever they may be. And then, of course, embodying cleverness is situations require subtle change for the good of everyone. All right, Taurus. There's your 9 cards. Thanks for checking out the video. Namaste.